these waters, looking for something to eat.
Welcome back to Modern Art Blitz. I am your host, Matt Gleason. I have two guests at one time. It's a two for one special today. I have the writer, SESSHU Foster, and the artist, Arturo Romo. Welcome to Modern Art Blitz, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Glad to be here.
Good, man. So, what are we watching? Is the Hindenburg going to blow up? Is this first off, this is not copyright footage, okay? Don't. Is this public domain?
Must be.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's gotta be. It's up there.
Must be.
It's up
It was
there.
shot over East LA.
Okay. Is this interview going to go down like the Hindenburg? So you guys we're shooting in Boyle Heights. You guys are both locals, right?
That's it.
SESSHU, where'd you grow up?
I'm from City Terrace, which is adjacent to Boyle Heights. City Terrace turns into Wabash, which rolls into Boyle Heights. And so, yeah, that's where I grew up.
Where'd you go to high school?
Wilson High School
Oh, okay.
in El Sereno.
Woodrow Wilson.
Woodrow Wilson.
What was it called? Is it old enough to have been called something before Woodrow Wilson was president?
No, but it is pretty old.
It's been around for a while.
It's pretty old.
Okay. So, and Arturo, where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Highland Park, partly, and then my parents moved out to Alhambra.
Alhambra?
Yeah.
And Highland Park's been going through changes lately.
Sure has, yeah.
Yeah? So you digging the coffee shops over there?
I think there's 17 coffee shops on York now.
On York? 17? Isn't
No,
that's
that's-
no. Okay, is that the official
They
statistic?
can fit a few more in there.
Huh?
They can still fit a few more in there.
So and then you went to the High School for the Arts.
I went to Laksa, yeah.
Laksa.
That's right.
Arturo was a student of mine during my short 4-year career as an educator.
One of my best teachers,
Really?
college, high school, yep.
Really?
One of my best teachers.
Did you learn anything?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. The one thing I remember about you is like right away you can see like who can really make art, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stay the hell away from this kid. Like, this guy can make. I was always happy with your art production. Okay, so we're going back between yellow and blue. What's going on here?
These were the signature colors from El Pedrero, Bill London's Museum of Antiques and Idiosyncrasies on, what is it, Whittier?
He was on First Street, right? Or was he on Whittier?
No, I'm not sure.
What years are we talking?
From the 70s through the 90s. I think it was up there maybe until the early 2000s, but it was a color-coded muffler shop that was full of rooms of antiques and like replica guns, toy soldiers, 3D chess sets, fantastic tools, I don't know
Broken
what.
clocks, swords.
Broken clocks.
Antique military equipment.
Was
all
it
of
kind of
which
like
apparently had some kind of mystical meaning to Bill, that he color-coded blue and yellow. And he told us personally that these two colors related to life and death and destiny.
Is this why you guys wore blue and yellow? Help me out here. Was this a
We
coincidence?
always wear blue and yellow.
Yeah?
We always wear blue and yellow.
So are you happy that the Rams have come back to LA? Wearing blue and yellow? Or is
Not at all.
that doesn't factor
Not
into
at
this at all? Okay,
No,
okay, just
not
making
happy
sure.
that any football is coming back.
Okay, so where are we now? You're on we're filming here on is this the 110? Are you above the 110 freeway?
Yeah, we're above the 10 freeway here.
Oh, the 10?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
overlooking City Terrace right
Oh,
there.
okay,
So
okay.
City Terrace is on your right side. of the
Okay, this is a film you guys have made?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've done in our collaboration is created these short films where we walk around mostly East LA and Northeast LA and explore the history and the hidden history of these areas, primarily through murals that have been erased. So we talk about why murals get erased, what those murals mean to people growing up in the neighborhood, and why, some of the bigger projects that mural making was part of, some of the bigger social projects that mural making was part of. So these videos are explorations of that social history of art.
When a mural gets erased, in East LA, like, obviously we're talking locally, but maybe it's on a global scale. When a mural gets erased, is it erased because something gets built in front of it, somebody paints over it and paints another mural for commercial reasons, or does it just fade and some landlord gets sick of it and paints over it? I mean, what are the common reasons?
It seems like all those things happen.
Yeah.
All those things happen, but I think some in particular that we've seen there'll be a changeover of the owner, and then the owner has a different relationship to the public and to people that live in that neighborhood. And so because murals are a public art form, and because murals are made in the context of the social, like how the social relates to art and how artists relate to their communities. When a landlord comes that has no connection to a community, I think it's easy for them to see it as a faded nuisance or something that doesn't mean anything to their particular agenda.
And so we collaborated on a website called the East LA Guide, the elaguide.org, and
ELAGUIDE.org.
Yes, and
okay.
It has some walking and driving tours of historical and social sites, such as right below the bridge in this video, for example, used to be La Raza newspaper during the 60s and 70s, which was a Chicano movement newspaper that, for example, members of OSCO collaborated on. They contributed art to.
Cartoons.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so that was one of their first collaborative projects as a group, and it was right below this pedestrian bridge that we were investigating here. And we've been doing this for about 6 years. Some of it was sort of articulated and placed as part of this website. Some of it's going to be part of a book that we're calling the East Los Angeles Dirigible Air Transport Lines, a kind of real history of a fictional dirigible company. And,
They get to see the overview of the whole city.
Yeah, that's right. And so it's kind of figurative overview of actual history.
And now all of this is taken place over the 10. But what are the boundaries of where you're going? I mean, you got Highland Park, obviously, but does it stretch to Alhambra? Is that considered no-go or go or no-go?
I don't think the borders are clearly drawn. I think it's more of a.
How far south do you get?
Yeah.
I mean, in our drive, part of our research has been to be driving around East LA.
Oh yeah.
That's how we conduct our research.
I mean, have you made it to Maywood or Vernon or any of that?
No, I mean
We have dropped down to Vernon a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I did a book previously
on Vernon?
Set in Vernon in the Farmer John slaughterhouse.
Oh wow!
But,
wow! On Soto.
And Arturo went with me to try and how should we put this? Get into the slaughterhouse?
Yeah.
You couldn't. Oh, you can't get in. It's actually it's a high security.
Highly guarded. Yeah.
Yeah. It's considered one of the top terrorist targets. I mean, they got Homeland Security stationed there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were on the trips that Arturo came, we were not able to get in.
I tried to get a Farmer John jacket from my neighbor who worked there, and he showed me they have a barcode inside their jackets.
Okay.
So when you walk in there, you have to be the person that shows up on the screen, your face. I mean, everything has to match. I mean, if they poison the meat, that's LA's meat supply there, you know.
Oh, definitely.
So, but you want to hear a good Farmer John story? My dad grew up in Santa Monica, and they had a field trip in the 30s. This is in the 1930s to Farmer John. And the reason he remembered this, and he told this to us as kids, was he was barefoot, because a lot of kids at the beach would go to school barefoot, because it was just, it was the 30s, okay? This is not child abuse, okay? And he said, so here he is. They're gone on a tour of the slaughterhouse, and they're in the smoking room. Ha, 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 and he's jumping up and down, barefoot kid, didn't bring his shoes to school. And then, of course, this is where they chill the beef, the refrigerator, cold, 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 cold. So, wow. That's how far back Farmer John stretches, and it's one of, there's not many things in LA that have been around that long. I mean, this is a town that just chews up its past.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that the natural progression of things? I mean, are you advocating stopping that sort of thing? Do you consider your art to be advocacy at all?
It is a kind of intervention.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we're not bankers. We can't pull funding from projects, but we're definitely interested in intervening at different levels in the area.
It's about raising consciousness.
That's right.
You know,
But it's also
And dialogue.
Yeah, it's also about starting to think of yourself and your practice as an artist as tied to a community or rooted in a community, rather than making art about history or art about a community. That, you know, reorienting ourselves as artists to make art from a community or from a history, from a particular place.
And you are a high school teacher, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
And are you a teacher? Are
I'm
you an
a high school
educator?
teacher also.
You're both high school teachers.
Francisco Bravo Medical Magnet, yeah.
Oh, and where do you teach?
I'm at Los Angeles River High School.
Okay, so has that informed your practice?
I think it ties you. It connects you to the people that to the people who live in a community.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a great part of my work. It influences my work a lot in terms of getting to know the struggles and the lives of young people, and then by extension their families. And I think at that age there's a lot of dreaming going on and a lot of formation of people's hopes and aspirations for the future. And to be tied into that directly on a day-to-day basis is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually just keeps me connected and keeps my practice and my process connected to that community.
So no desire to go like talk theory with the rich kids at Cal Arts?
Oh, no, not at all.
No, the pay's okay. So, and how long have you been a high school teacher now?
3 years.
30.
30? You look so young. What, did you start teaching at age 12? Come on. Were you a child genius? Help me out here. Jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I made an early decision that I wanted to work and write about the community that I lived and worked in, and I wanted to support that community and have my work be by and about that community. And build it and support it.
How many books? You've written many books. How many books have you written? Have you lost count?
I guess I've written about 5 books, and I won an American Book Award for co-editing another book of LA poetry, and we have a book that I'm hoping will find a publisher this year, and then I have another book coming out this year also.
And you've been included in many like anthologies and stuff
Right,
like that, right?
yeah.
You just lose count at some point?
For example, the Oxford Book of American Poetry and others, lots of them.
And I want to say your claim to fame, you have many claims to fame, but your claim to fame, I mean, at this point, would you say you're still most known, as far as, at least in the art world, as having been in the Phantom Sightings show at LACMA?
I'm still riding that wave, Matt.
Yeah? Really?
Riding that Phantom Sightings wave, yeah.
Yeah?
No.
Right, that Phantom Sightings wave is just going to carry everybody. But that was a benchmark relative to institutional success, yeah?
Yeah, and that it traveled to Mexico City and to Phoenix was really important.
And now your piece there was about the murals, right?
My piece there was, I showed 2 pieces. I'm not sure if I'm the only artist that showed 2 pieces at the Phantom Sightings show.
You got away with it. Phantom Sightings twice. Phantom and Sightings,
Yeah,
okay.
well, I built a piece for LA, and that got shown at LACMA, and then we collaborated on video that traveled.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the ones.
One of the ones
yeah.
we've had a lot of motion behind. I hope the viewers are not. I apologize if you're getting motion sickness. Dronebox is not responsible for any motion sickness while participating in this show. So where do you get the archival footage? Do you pull it? Is there like a site you can go to, free footage?
YouTube.
YouTube? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard of that website. So when your book gets published, I mean, do you feel like books versus websites? Where, I mean, as a writer, but also visually, I mean, is print dead? I mean, where's it going?
Dead. Well, I'm biased for print. I like print over everything else, but definitely I wanted to see if we can collaborate digitally in terms of visually, in terms of other media. We've done the recent Rupture Radio Hour as a kind of live performance magazine, kind of in this format. at Cal State LA, at UCLA Fowler Museum, with guests from the community, artists and activists from the community. So we've tried to sort of, reformulate our projects in different forms and formats and get it out there in different ways, and books is definitely like.
Do you think where East LA is going? I mean, do you see like historically, or are you trying to capture what's here now because it may be gone in 5 years? It may all be one big Starbucks.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, when you talk about history, I mean, is there history in the present that you feel obligated to embrace or engage with and capture?
I don't think of what we do together as necessarily like archiving anything or preserving anything. I think of it more as engagement. I mean, it's just becoming connected with your community, connected with the history of your own family, of your own life, becoming connected with your own life, and recognizing that your life doesn't end right here. Mm-hmm. That you're connected through history and through many social connections that were part of a larger society. And something that SESSHU wrote a while back that struck me was that artists shouldn't expect themselves to be tourists of their own life. That we shouldn't just be
whoa. That's very powerful. Wait. You say that one. For my viewers at home, who may be a little, that was pretty powerful. Could you say that just a little slower and give me some oomph to it?
That artists shouldn't be tourists in their own life, or they shouldn't be visitors to their own life. Just like people in Los Angeles shouldn't be visitors or tourists in Los Angeles, that you have to really understand where you're at and the location that you're at, and that LA has at least a 20,000 year history of people, and that if you're going to be here, that the least you can do is acknowledge that. And as artists, we shouldn't be spectators or tourists of that process, of any of these historical processes.
When you say tourist, a very loaded word. Yeah. And nobody likes a tourist. So what when you say that, like, can you give me an example? I'm following you. I really want you to dig in this one. Who is it? Is there someone that you can think of that is a tourist in their own life? Or if it's an archetype, fine, but is there somebody?
I guess what I think of in relation to that is Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood has a kind of direct electric plug into the imagination of the whole human species, right? It's kind of taken over the imagination of the world, but it's, if you look at Hollywood movies about Los Angeles, like how deep do they go in LA? Like, what Los Angeles do they really represent? Like, if you look at them, what all-white Los Angeles is there? You know, but if you look at Hollywood movies,
you would think this was Seattle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so part of our project is that east of the river was historically the communities that were redlined and allowed people of color were pushed there. Boyle Heights obviously was an old Jewish neighborhood with a really old Japanese American community. All of those neighborhoods became largely Mexican and then Central American throughout the 80s. And so there's those millions of lives out there that exist in a kind of rain shadow of Hollywood, where the bright lights,
it's a forgotten
city,
space. Nobody's telling their stories.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's all those lives that hopefully we can engage with, and not merely archive, but bring alive to a certain extent.
Well, I'm very honored to have had you guys as guests on the show. I love what you're doing. I think it's very important, and I think the city needs you. I hope you can inspire other artists to stop renting their existence, so to speak, and get with where they are. So thanks so much for being on Modern Art Blitz.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after this.
You're living inside your